Welcome back to another Yeah, I Smoke It.
We're gonna smoke some baby back ribs in St. Louis style on my Weber Smokey Mountain. You can see there that the charcoal is burning in the chimney, but what I initially did was pour a good amount into the bottom, not to overflow the ring, and then just grab the handful out of the center. There I'm pulling the burnt lit charcoal into the center, and then they'll eventually burn around it. There I got a pan full of water to help maintain the temperature. What you're looking at here is known as the spare rib. If you want St. Louis style ribs, you gotta trim it up and square it up. There'll be a separate video that I kind of get into more detail and description of what I am doing. You can see there that I have the St. Louis style ribs squared up and also the baby backs on the bottom. So I have my fireboard hooked up to my Weber Smokey Mountain. The internal temperature is around 255. Ideally, that's not a bad place to set it because once you put the ribs in, it'll drop the temperature before it starts to rise back up again. So here I'm using a butter knife to separate the membrane from the back of the ribs. Ideally, you want to take it off. I feel that if you leave it on there, it gets tough when you start to chew into it. There are folks that do like to leave it on there, but I prefer to take it off. If you have a hard time gripping it, paper towel usually helps and it does the trick. I like to set a base just using standard yellow mustard. I feel that I think it helps with the seasoning to stick, and also it does give it a thin layer of somewhat of a crust onto the ribs. I picked up this seasoning at my local butcher shop. You know what, it turned out pretty good. I don't mind it. There's so many options and varieties of seasoning that you can make or buy at the stores. I had luck with both homemade and store-bought. The Weber Smokey Mountain is nice and hot. It's roughly, like I said, around 255, 250. Once you put those chunks of cold meat on there, I mean, it's eventually going to drop the temperature and it'll take some time to climb back up. Wanted to give you guys a view from up top. Typically when I shut the lid stays shut for about 2.5 hours before I even open it up to take a look. Opening up the side access panel, it'll throw chunks of hickory wood in. This one you can throw as much as you want in or as little as you want, but the more you throw in, of course, the more pronounced the smoky flavor is going to be. So it's roughly been about an hour and 45 minutes. I noticed the temperature starting to drop. Grab the stick just to move some the coals around and get the fire and the heat going back up again. When I'm smoking ribs, I like to keep my temperature range between 230 to 245. It's been about the 3-hour mark. Just slathering some good old Baby Ray. I like to mix a little bit of apple cider and Baby Rays together. There is no, ratio. You could do 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. It's up to you, but I like to have that little bit of acidity taste to it. So we're at the 3 hours and roughly 45-minute mark. The question I get often is, how do you know when they're done? It's a hard one for me to answer. I guess it just comes with time. You kind of know what the feel is when you pick it up with a pair of tongs. Second way you could always check is look at how much the meat has pulled back from the bone is what I'm looking at here. You can see it's pulled back some. The more it pulls back, the more the bone you get that meat fall off the bone effect. But I think at this point the ribs that I have are done. So the ribs are coming off. Once I checked it earlier with the tongs, I just ran inside, grabbed my tray, and I'm pulling it off. And there we have it. Baby backs on the bottom, St. Louis style on top. My preference has always been St. Louis style. I feel that it's much more flavorful because of the fat content versus the baby back. And that, my friend, is a cut from the St. Louis style ribs. And I can tell you what, that sucker was juicy. And as always, thank you for watching. I'm sure I missed a lot, so if you have any questions or comments, please leave it below and I'll make sure to respond. Don't forget to like or subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching, and smoke on.